I regret my vote for Trump. I was lied to, I guess, that after he became president, women no longer were, we were no longer going to have to work.
Now, what are you guys going to do whenever you realize Trump is playing chess?
You think Trump knows how to play chess?
Tangerine tyrant single-handedly destroyed the U.S. economy today, with the Dow Jones plunging nearly 1,700 points. And while that's happening, he decided, hey, I'm going to go take off and head to a golf tournament in Florida. I guess that's the modern equivalent of let them eat cake. You know, the economy is burning, stock market is crashing, global alliances that we've had for nearly a century are completely destroyed, and you're going to go and play golf. I seem to recall you complaining every single time Barack Obama played a round of golf. But now we're in an actual crisis that you created completely unnecessarily, by the way. You're going to go play golf. I'd say that's the only thing you're good at, but actually, you suck at that too. You suck at everything.
6 bankruptcies, and they handed him the largest economy on the planet. That's the part I can't get over. It's like watching someone total 3 cars in a parking lot and then going, yeah, here's a semi-truck. You'll figure it out. And when the semi jackknifes on the highway, everyone acts shocked. The receipts were there the whole time. They were just inconvenient.
You can't even run a business, so everyone that thinks he runs businesses well and he's a genius. He's been bankrupt how many times? That's right. Keep drinking the Kool-Aid, because that's exactly where you're headed.
Okay, fine, Maga. You're right. I was wrong. You told me that if I voted for Kamala Harris, that America would end up in a recession or worse. Here we are, starting out with a recession. And you also told me that if I voted for Kamala, that we would end up in a global war. And here we are, global trading war. So yeah, you were right. I voted for Kamala. And all those things happened anyway.
This is actually the most honest thing said so far, and it's wrapped in sarcasm, which makes it hit harder because, yeah, trade war, recession fears, economic instability, all the things they said would happen under the other candidate happened anyway. Sometimes the punchline writes itself, and all you can do is just stand there with it.
Oh, and have fun on your golf trip, Donald. That's costing us millions of dollars to fund, while the rest of the country struggles with our dropping economy, families getting torn apart, and women unable to access reproductive health care. At least we know what your priorities are: golfing and sucking up to corrupt billionaires.
Yesterday, millions of people protested not only nationwide, but worldwide against Donald Trump and this administration. And many of them were peaceful protests. However, one of my friends and neighbors sent me this video, and it'll come with a trigger warning. But this is the type of person that supports this administration. This is the type of person we have to fight against. Watch.
Fuck you! It's really grown up standing on a goddamn street on the middle of a Saturday. Fuck you! Fuck you!
Ma'am!
You're the man.
Ma'am, you are
Fuck
in
you.
the road.
You're
Get out of the
embarrassed
road.
up. You're an embarrassment to the goddamn country. You fucking piece. You know, hit film. Fuck you, you fucking cunt. Fuck you!
Do not engage.
Fuck you!
Hey, Ginger Snappin' here. The tariffs. I'm decorating a cake if you're wondering what I'm doing while I talk to you. So the orange rapist does not understand the economy. This is a man who bankrupted at least 6 businesses, which one of them was a casino. It's like, how do you bankrupt a damn casino, right?
Okay, so she's decorating a cake and dropping more economic knowledge than most cable news hosts, and the casino line is genuinely the best summary. A casino is literally designed so the house cannot lose. The math is built in. It is structurally impossible to go broke running one, unless you are spectacularly bad at the fundamentals, and those are the hands the global economy is currently in. Let that marinate.
And the way he came up with his tariff numbers is some sort of weird math where he took the deficit between that country and our country and decided that I need something else. The way to calculate it was to do something like, okay, if the deficit between our country and your country is 100 billion, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to divide it by the actual, trade. So let's say that the actual trade is 200 million. And then so you're going to get a 50% tariff because of that difference. What the Cheeto rapist fails to understand is not everybody has everything. We don't grow bananas in the United States. So no matter how our deficit happens or how large it happens to be, that deficit will never change because we can't grow bananas here. We can't grow vanilla here. We can't grow coffee here. These things happen over time because people have goods that we need.
This is the part that exposes the whole fantasy of bring it all back home. Some things cannot be reshored, not because of laziness or bad policy, but because of geography, climate, soil, infrastructure built over generations. You can't tariff your way into a coffee plantation. You can't willpower a semiconductor fab into existence in 18 months. Taiwan's chip industry took 40 years to build. That's not a political problem. That's just reality, and reality doesn't care about the narrative.
Now, my degree is in manufacturing systems engineering with an emphasis in robotics and artificial intelligence. A lot of words, right? But notice, manufacturing systems engineering, which means that I studied manufacturing. I was in Pennsylvania at the time when Mack trucks left Bethlehem and went to a right-to-work state because they were not being allowed to organize anymore. The union fought against it. The International Auto Workers fought against it. But Mack Truck just said, no, we don't want no freaking unions. We're going to go to North Carolina, and just moved the whole place there. I was furious. Like, no, that's not how you treat your people. Mack Truck had been in the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania area for its entire existence, and the new management is just like, we don't want to have unions, so we're going to leave. People, unions are incredibly important. You might not think they are, but it is how OSHA, the Safety and Health Organization, got started, because they demanded safe working environments. They demanded fairness in the environments. They demanded living wages. And so these tariffs are hurting all of that stuff. We cannot bring bananas and grow them here. We cannot bring back all of those the chips that are made in Taiwan. It costs gazillions to build those factories. They're not going to happen overnight. It takes 5 to 10 years. We are screwed.
Not being dramatic here, he's being precise, because the 5 to 10 year timeline for factories is actually optimistic. You need the land, the permits, the specialized equipment, the trained workforce, the supply chain ecosystem around the factory. None of that appears because you announced a tariff. What does appear immediately is the price increase, the shortage, the businesses closing because their input costs tripled overnight. The pain is instant. The fix is a decade away. That gap is where real damage lives.
Here's something that a lot of Americans are going to have a hard time accepting and understanding. Donald Trump has destroyed America. America is over, at least as we remember and understand it. The United States as a country will continue to exist, but it'll be different. All of us have grown up in a world where America was the dominant global superpower. We were the leading light of democratic nations. Our president was the leader of the free world. Our currency was a global reserve currency. And this doesn't really come from any sort of formal designation. I mean, we're very rich and powerful, but it came from a general belief that we were the leading country. And that's gone now. It's been destroyed. It took Donald Trump less than 100 days to destroy it. The coalition of nations that formed around us because we were a powerful democracy and treated us as their leader, they're breaking away. Even Canada has broken away from us. Europe has broken away from us. We appear to be most friendly with dictatorships like Russia that are small and weak and poor. It's ironic given how people treated Biden's presidency as unendurable, but I think we'll look back to it as the last moment that America was the America we grew up in. Nobody trusts us now. They look at us as unstable, as potentially corrupt, as unwilling to follow the rules that govern ourselves, much less everyone else. They look at us as dangerous. We could turn on them.
This is the part that keeps me up at night, honestly. Because the dollar being the global reserve currency wasn't just prestige, it meant every nation on earth needed dollars to trade oil, to buy commodities, to do business. That gave America borrowing power no other country has. And it wasn't given by law, it was earned through decades of being the stable, predictable, reliable partner. That reputation is now gone, and rebuilding it isn't a policy decision. It's a generational project. Other countries aren't waiting around. They're already building the alternatives.
Impose tariffs. We could even attack them militarily, even our allies. We could try to annex their territories. No one has any reason to think of us as anything but a potential threat. America derived a lot of its authority from its reputation as the world's intellectual center, the center of all of the leading universities, the companies where people did research, where people changed the world. But Donald Trump is destroying those universities. He's destroying our medical research, our scientific research, our technical research. Those people are leaving the country. They're going somewhere else. And so the world's going to leave us behind. Why wouldn't they? We're a nation where our leader just yammers on and on about how America is going to bully everyone into line, but they don't want to work with us. They want to leave us to rot and look after themselves. As an American, it's incredibly depressing because it all happened for nothing. It's because Donald Trump is motivated by nothing but grievance and stupidity. No larger policy objectives was served. This is all about, I guess, punishing trans people and hurting immigrants for no reason other than to see them get hurt. And for that, we've destroyed a country that was a leader among nations in so many ways. We could have led the world, and we did for a long time, but Donald Trump has proven that we can't and we don't deserve to. And each and every one of us is going to pay the price for that eventually.
Take a listen to these women and tell me if you believe anything that they're saying.
Hi, everyone. So I'm with one of my really good friends. She voted for Trump. And you know what? Well, yes. But guess what? It's not time for us to do that. The time has come for us to figure this shit out.
No, we already had it figured out. You don't get a pass. You don't get the call for unity now. Calling for unity now is like offering Caitlyn Jenner a hand. You're a little too late.
People want to hear that you regret your vote.
As of right now, I'm very unhappy with where we are economically.
This needed to happen is the wildest cope I've heard. Nobody who's missing meals or watching their 401k collapse is sitting there going, yes, necessary. This is the process. That's a thing people say when the pain isn't landing on them. When you're comfortable enough to watch others struggle and call it a lesson. The unity talk is real sweet, but it tends to show up exactly when accountability gets too close.
There we are. You mean you're getting economically hit? Who the fuck would have guessed that?
But guess what? This needed to happen. We needed for him to win. Rigged or not, for him to win and for all of us to come together. So what we are saying tonight, let's come together. Exactly. Let's come together. We're all Americans.
Stop the division.
No, this didn't need to happen. Stop the division? Where the fuck were you on January 6th? Where were you when there was good people on both sides? Stop the division. Where were you when he was degrading women? Where were you during these things, huh? Nope. Fuck around and find out. No unity here.
What's up, everybody? So JB Pritzker is complaining that the cost of living in Illinois is way too expensive. Price of groceries, gas, etc. Everything's way too expensive. It's all because of Trump and his tariffs and how evil of him, because the prices of everything are going up. But the prices went up under Biden, not Trump. So it's when the prices started going up, gas prices, etc. Because during Trump's first term, we did pretty well. Like, everything was still a little bit more expensive because we have terrible leadership in the governor position that likes to tax everything at a super high rate. So the tax on everything we buy is already pretty high compared to most states, but the prices of, basic necessities were not super high. It was pretty reasonable. And then, we ended with Biden in office, and then everything just went right through the roof, and then now you're trying to get it go back down. So actually, the reason why the prices are high is not because of Trump and his tariffs, it's because of Biden. And the fact we have a terrible governor. So in 2026, let's all come together, make it too big to rig, and get the worst governor in American history, J.B. Pritzker, out of office once and for all, and elect in an Illinois First candidate, an Illinois First Republican candidate, to make Illinois great again and make it affordable again. Let's get it done. We have the people, we have the stuff. We just have to outwork the Democrats. We can outsmart them, we can outwork them. Let's come together and get it done once and for all. Huge numbers across the board, too big to rig.
Republicans have already started to turn on Trump, and I think the longer this man's in office, I think the more we are going to see conservatives come out and go against him.
We have a labor force in America across many industries that has been built on illegal labor. That's a fact. That also cannot be ignored. And as a conservative and as a business owner in the construction industry and as a realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that.
So if you don't know who that is, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a Republican congresswoman who has been a Trump supporter since day one and has supported a lot of his policies. Now, that's not what's going on in this video, right? We can clearly see she is pivoting from her previous stance, which was obviously pro-deportation.
The second it hits the bottom line, the ideology gets very flexible. And look, she's not wrong about the labor reality. Construction, agriculture, food processing, these industries built their entire cost model around that workforce. And now the policy she championed is gutting her own business, which would almost be a clean lesson if it wasn't costing everyone else so much more. The pivot is noted. The timing is noted. All of it is noted.
But now, like others in her similar situation, because if you saw in the video, she has a construction business. And as anyone who is Latino knows, yeah, a lot of immigrants work in the construction industries. A lot of them are undocumented, and that's how they make a living. I want to point out something that she admits openly, which is that this country has benefited from illegal labor. What do you mean? Yeah, of course. And this goes back ages. And that's because companies understand that using illegal labor means that they don't have to pay them the same wages they would have to pay someone who is a citizen. Also, they're not forced to give them benefits, which costs companies millions. Now, especially in the construction industry, which has been widely known to be the center of illegal labor, those Home Depots that they've been raiding, the car washes, all those people, they hire them and they work in these locations because the business owners benefit from the cheap labor. Not to mention the farm workers. All of the immigrants that work in the farms get paid pennies compared to the work that they have to do. Some of them have to work 6 to 7 days a week, 70 hours weekly, and they live in a common space with other immigrants that is provided from the farm owner. But again, they're not the best conditions whatsoever. They're terrible. But again, all this because these sectors benefit from this illegal labor because it's cheap. They don't have to pay benefits, and they quite literally can do whatever they want because, you know, if your employee decides to want to report something, all you can say is, I'm going to call ICE. But it's a little too late. We're 10 months into this administration's mass deportation strategy, and no one on the Republican side decided to ask themselves, hey, what are the repercussions if we start to deport everybody rather than figure out a way to make this work in our favor, in the country's favor? Fun fact, deporting all of these labor workers without replacing them or having a plan to replace them in these industries only hurts the United States. We've seen what the raids have done to the farms. We've seen what it's done especially here in downtown LA, to all of the shops and business owners. They've locked up, they've closed down business. And more recently, the commercial truck driving sector has been hit as well here in California, or at least they're trying to hit it. They're not going to be issuing people, even who have work permits here in California, their commercial driver's license. Now, if you remember back in COVID, when we had the cargo shipment bunch up at the ports, it was because there weren't drivers that could take them because of COVID. Now, in this situation, this is being caused by the administration, and we're going to run into the same problem where we're going to have containers backed up. We're going to see the prices surge in the grocery stores and in every sector of our life, all because their first solution was the most expensive one, which was deport everybody, and then we'll figure it out after. Well, as you can see, a lot of Republicans are finding out that that strategy doesn't work. And also, just a reminder, we're 13 days now into our government shutdown.
So just to stack what's on the table right now: market down, trade war escalating, deportations hollowing out entire labor sectors, SNAP benefits at risk for millions, government shutdown entering week 2, and the defense is, well, technically it's Congress's job, brother. When your team controls Congress and the outcome is this, that's not a technicality, that's a result. Own the ressus.
So, yeah, all of their strategies aren't working. And guess who's being hit hard the most? It's not immigrants, although they are seeing the suffering, but the ones that are going to get hit the most in the long run are American citizens, which again, the Republican Party always said it was America first, but it seems like all their strategies are Trump first and his billionaire friends first, not the American people.
Per usual, Democrats are blaming Trump for something that Congress actually caused. The Trump administration isn't using emergency funds because those funds weren't approved for SNAP. That's called following the law. The man seriously cannot win with you Democrats and liberals. The facts are, during a government shutdown, the president can't just wave a pen and start spending money. SNAP, that's the food assistance program, is what's called a mandatory program, but it still depends on Congress approving the dollars to keep those benefits flowing. No funding bill, no spending authority, period. This has nothing to do with Trump or the administration. And of course, the Democrats are suing, spinning headlines, making Trump the villain once again because they act like they don't know the fucking law. It's Congress's job to fund the government, not the president's. I really wish the left would stop spinning everything to separate and divide this country. Stop blaming Trump for Americans missing food benefits. Maybe you should try doing your job and pass the budget. Fund the programs and stop using low-income families as political props. As always, y'all, if you like what I'm talking about, please share my video and share your thoughts as well. I love it all, good, bad, or ugly.
So here's where we actually land. The people paying the highest price right now are not economists, not politicians, not pundits. They're truck drivers, farm workers, small business owners, families who depended on food assistance. Real people, real consequences. And what's wild is that none of the pain was inevitable. These were policy choices, deliberate ones, made by people who were warned, clearly, by anyone paying attention. The chess players said trust the process. This is the process. Drop a comment. Do you think any of this turns around, or is the damage already done? I genuinely want to hear where your head's at. Like, share, subscribe to Mind Mirror. We'll be here watching it unfold.